Mm-hmm.
An increased sense of calm. Also an increased sense of back.
A back problem, pain?
Amen to that.
Yeah, great. So, a sense of calmness, an emotional experience, and then a difficult sensation in the body. And were there any thoughts that went along with either of those?
Oh, I definitely had other thoughts.
Uh-huh. Okay. And the thinking that was present, was it calm, or was it more like the sensations in your back?
It was calm.
Mhm.
Just busy planning things, thinking about things.
Great,
Terribly emotionally.
great. Thank you. Thank you. Someone else? What were you experiencing just as the meditation ended? Yes, David.
So I ended the meditation actually brought me back to the present moment
Mm-hmm.
and whatever else is interfering with the meditation broke that cycle. I was very much back in the present moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what was that experience of coming back to the present moment? What did that feel like in the body?
It's very relaxed, very aware.
Mm-hmm. And did any thoughts come along with it?
No, just very much being
Right here in calm. Great. Thank you. Thanks very much. And anyone else, either what you experienced as the meditation ended or any experience that you had, that you may have had during the period of meditation. Could be anything. It might be that you experienced a restless mind or demanding thoughts. You might have experienced a challenging emotion or a painful knee or a deep sense of peacefulness and wholeness. Or you might have just been incredibly bored and counting the time till the meditation ended. But anyone, an important teaching of the Buddha is that it's good karma to participate. So, yes. Uh-huh. Great. Great. So there's a sense of the breath becoming calmer and easier. And I'm sorry I missed it. So emotionally, what came along with that?
Well, I'm always, since this side has a sciatic, this side has a hard time breathing out.
Right.
So I noticed that the more I relaxed, the easier it was for me to breathe out of this side. And I sat into that breath, just relaxed myself, and enjoyed it.
Wonderful. So emotionally, there was a sense of relaxation and calm. Yeah. Were there any thoughts that came along with that calmness and that easy breathing?
Not really. I thought of being during that period, just focusing on the relaxation.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes.
I had an odd mix of responses tonight. I was very sleepy when I got here tonight.
Mhm.
I was sleepy before I left the house. And so I wondered if I would have problems with dozing tonight. I rarely do, but I can't really predict when that's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
And, but I wondered if tonight I would. And as soon as we started to meditate and I was concentrating on the breath, my
Mhm.
But, so that kept me awake. And then, I stayed awake through the whole meditation, and then I heard the first two, striking of the bells. And then all of a sudden I opened my eyes and everybody was awake. And you were all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I had still had my eyes closed. So I waited until the very end and then.
Yeah. Okay, so there was a sensation of your breath being ragged and the emotional experience of tension.
Yeah.
And then thoughts about being sleepy or I'm going to fall asleep. Did I hear that right? Great. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you very much. So we'll come back to why it's useful to be able to notice our experiences in this way, notice our thoughts and our emotions and the sensations occurring in our body. But first I'd like us to do a brief exercise together. So if everybody would raise one hand, just to a comfortable position, and slowly begin to make a fist. Yeah. And just continuing to tighten the fist. And if this isn't right for your body, don't do this. But you might imagine the experience of a fist tightening. So keep tightening the fist and bringing your awareness into the sensations that are developing as you do this. Sensations in the hand, the wrist, the arm, perhaps the shoulder, maybe in the heart. Aware of any emotions that might accompany the steady tightening of your fist. Any thoughts about the experience? Why are we doing this? And now, very gradually, very slowly, beginning to release the fist. And keeping your attention in your body, particularly initially in your hand. If you really got your fist good and tight, you may have to help the fingers uncurl. And noticing the changing sensations in your hand as the hand gradually becomes fully open. And the muscles softened. Noticing the sensations in the hand and the arm and the shoulder. Noticing any emotions that might attend this experience, any thoughts that might be present. And then when you're ready, just letting your hand relax in your lap or on your legs, wherever you'd like it to be. So, for me, in my practice and in my daily life, these two ways of holding the hand are a useful metaphor and reminder of the flow of our experience, the flow and range of our experiences from moment to moment, from day to day, from birth to death. Periods of suffering in all its many forms: stress, tension, anger, worry, sadness, shame, grief. Experiences that cause our bodies to tighten, our hearts to contract, our sense of spaciousness and ease to evaporate. And also periods of peacefulness and ease, wellness, sense of breathing room or spaciousness, brief moments of awakening as they come and go in our life. As part of a human life, we continually move back and forth between these poles, while at the same time, at least those of us who are here, are attempting to follow a path that is supposed to lead us to the end of suffering. Though many of us would be satisfied probably with simply less suffering in our lives. So how can we help this desired and wholesome movement from suffering to ease? There are the classic teachings of the first and second ennobling truths to understand and experience suffering, and then to release clinging, releasing both the craving for what we want and the pushing away for what we don't want. And practically speaking, how do we do this? In my own practice and my own daily life, I have found it immensely helpful to know what my experience is. Now, ideally, I would know this from moment to moment, and perhaps if I were closer all these years to becoming enlightened, that would be true. But at least it's very helpful to me to check in at several points during the day with what my experience is. This sounds so obvious, but how much of the time are we actually living our lives in some form of automatic pilot, hardly noticing our lives as we go from day to day, hardly noticing our emotional experience, how we felt for the day, or what we were thinking about during the day. Or alternatively, how often do we become completely lost and swept up in the turmoil of a difficult emotional experience, or in endlessly ruminating and distressing thoughts, lost in the experience, but not seeing it clearly, not understanding and being with what is happening, and missing the opportunity that exists for freedom and release. This brings us back to where we started a few minutes ago. As I asked each of you who spoke up about your experience and whatever you told me about, if it was an emotional experience or a felt sense in the body or thoughts, I would ask about the other two, trying to help people become aware and pull apart, separate out their experience of thinking and emotions and sensations in the body. And we can teach ourselves through repeated practicing to be aware of our experience in this way. By being aware of our thoughts and emotions and sensations, we find a direct and easily accessible way into the four foundations of mindfulness, one of the basic teachings of the Buddha as the path to freedom. We can see clearly if we are easeful, at peace, experiencing a sense of well-being, and we can remember then to savor the experience, to feel it deeply in our body, in our heart and mind, so that slowly it can change how we are wired, what our set point is, helping our default state to more and more become a sense of ease, of peacefulness and interconnectedness. And alternatively, we can see if we are stressed or suffering, and in that seeing, no longer be lost in the experience. We can immediately gain a bit of spaciousness around whatever is troubling us, so that we can allow it to be present, and allow it to be felt and come to be known. Over time, when we do this, we become able to work with suffering skillfully, turning toward our difficulties and challenges, welcoming them as a part of a human life, and allowing them to be present and felt and explored with a kind interest and curiosity. And if we are lucky, after years of practice, or at least for me it took years of practice, we can finally learn to do this allowing and feeling of the difficulties in our life without an unspoken agenda. I'll let you in. I'll feel you. I'll meet you at the door laughing, as Rumi advises us to do. As long as you will go away and leave me alone. How often is that our practice when things are difficult and when we're going through a rough period? But each of us has the capacity to learn over time that we can simply be present with and feel the challenges in our lives. We can recognize that we really have no other choice if we are to live fully, live mindfully, as these times are part of our lived experience, part of our lives, and can only be understood as the First Noble Truth instructs if we allow them to be present, to be felt, and to be known, while at the same time releasing our clinging, which comes as aversion to our suffering, and pushing it away. So, the takeaway for tonight is that you might choose to develop the habit of checking in with yourself a few times each day. Many of us have the habit of taking a mindful pause, which often means bringing our awareness into our body, perhaps feeling the contact of our feet with the floor, taking a few conscious and felt breaths. It's a wonderful, wonderful practice, and any of you who do that regularly will notice that it resets your stress level or resets your calmness, whatever state you're in through the day, to a more and more comfortable place. But we can add to that. And when we take our mindful pause, we can take a moment to notice what thoughts are present right now. What emotions am I experiencing? And what sensations are occurring in my body? And we can particularly remember to do this, especially when we notice a sense of dis-ease, when we notice our peacefulness beginning to shift to distress, when we notice our mind and our body and our heart bracing against, not wanting things to be as they are. Noticing at these times what thoughts are present. What is our emotional state? What am I feeling in my body? And in so doing, finding a doorway into responding wisely to suffering and to more frequently abiding in a sense of peacefulness and well-being. Now, I'm going to add a bit of technology to this talk. And I'm a Luddite, if anybody remembers that term from a while back. But there is an app you can download to your phone called Mindfulness Bell. And it's got a lovely bell which you can set to ring at whatever frequency you'd like it to ring during the day. And you can set it to ring loud or soft, whatever's best for you. And so teachers used to have to say, use your experience of reaching for a doorknob as a mindfulness bell, or use the phone ringing as a mindfulness bell, or walking through a particular hallway. But you don't have to do that anymore. Now you can just have this thing on your phone that reminds you to mindfully pause, to settle into your body, and to notice what you're experiencing in those moments. And I don't get any commissions from the company that makes this. I think it costs $1.99 or something like that. So thank you for your practice this evening, for your effort, for your participation, and most importantly, for your presence. A presence that supports the practice and the well-being of all those around you as we meet here together. So let's sit together for a few moments. Just sitting just as you are, relaxing. Body doesn't need to be upright, just sitting in a relaxed way. And this will just last for a few moments. And again, settling into your body and feeling your breath. In the words of Kittasaro, as they live on a fading post-it note on my dashboard, in the heart of every circumstance is a place of freedom. And so may we all aspire to open to all suffering, our own and others. And may each of us practice so that we may serve to relieve pain and sorrow. And may all beings everywhere, ourselves included, be safe and well and peaceful and happy and free.